God is dead, and we have killed him. That's not the beginning of a horror story. That's a warning from one of history's most dangerous minds. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't just whisper this into the wind. He screamed it through a madman, in broad daylight, to a crowd that had already stopped believing in God. But here's the real question. If God is dead, what died with him? Was it only religion? Or something much deeper, something we didn't see coming? What if it wasn't about God at all, but about the death of truth itself? What if the silence that followed wasn't peace, but the echo of a world falling apart? For Nietzsche, this wasn't celebration, it was collapse, a collapse of meaning, of values, of direction. God is dead wasn't the end of a myth, it was the start of a crisis. And that crisis, we're still living in it. This is Intuitra, where we don't just ask what's true, we ask what truth is even worth anymore. Subscribe now, because the next thought might shake the ground you're standing on. God is dead. Most people think Nietzsche meant atheism, that he was just saying, we don't believe in God anymore. But that's not what made his words so dangerous. Atheism wasn't new. By the time Nietzsche wrote those words, people had already stopped going to church. Darwin had shaken the world. Science was rising. The old beliefs were fading. So why did Nietzsche sound the alarm? Because he wasn't talking about the church. He was talking about truth. Not just religious truth, but all truth. The kind of truth that tells us what's right, what's wrong, what's worth living for. For Nietzsche, God meant something more. Not a man in the sky, but the foundation of everything we believed. Morality, purpose, order, direction. And now that foundation was cracking. If God is dead, then so is the belief that life has one true meaning, one clear path, one ultimate rulebook. And without that, we're drifting, alone, directionless, floating in a universe without answers. That's what Nietzsche saw. Not a world free and enlightened, but a world unraveling. Picture this: a man lights a lantern and runs into a sunlit marketplace, crying out, I seek God, I seek God. People laugh at him. They say, is God hiding? Did he get lost like a child? The man doesn't smile. He stares at them and shouts, God is dead. God remains dead, and we have killed him. This isn't a church. These aren't priests. They're modern people, rational, scientific, people who already stopped believing in God. So why is the madman speaking to them? Because they thought the death of God was nothing, a footnote in history, a sign of progress. But the madman knew better. He saw the cost. We have killed him, not just with doubt, but with science, with logic, with pride. And what takes his place? The answer: nothing. No higher purpose, no absolute values, no direction home. And yet, they laughed. Nietzsche wasn't mocking religion. He was confronting those who thought they had moved on. He was warning them. You don't understand what you've done, because without God, without some deeper truth, we've opened the door to something much worse, a world where nothing is sacred, and meaning is just a memory. Nietzsche didn't hate science. He admired it, respected its power, but he saw a problem. Science had become the new God. It claimed to replace faith, yet it asked for the same kind of belief in progress, in objectivity, in a world that could be measured, explained, and controlled. But here's the twist. Nietzsche didn't think this was freedom. He thought it was just another prison, a new religion with formulas instead of prayers and labs instead of temples. We thought we had escaped belief, but we only replaced the cross with the microscope. Science, like religion, still chases the same ghost, truth. We call it objective. But even that rests on faith. Faith that the world is knowable. Faith that reason will save us. Faith that truth matters more than life itself. Nietzsche asked, what if that faith is the last illusion? What if we still burn with the same old fire? Just in a different temple. He wrote, even we godless men still derive our flame from the fire ignited by a faith millennia old. That fire was once called God. Now it's called science, but it burns just the same. So what happens when truth dies? When God is gone and science can't save us? Nietzsche saw it coming not with celebration, but with dread. He called it nihilism, a black hole in the center of meaning. No more right or wrong, and no more up or down, just endless drift. He wrote, are we not straying as through an infinite nothing? Has it not become colder? Without a foundation, morality collapses. Purpose fades. Everything becomes opinion? Truth is no longer sacred. It's traded, twisted, customized. And in this fog, anything goes. Sound familiar? Today we call it post-truth, the age where facts feel like fiction, where everyone has their truth, and no one knows what to believe anymore. But Nietzsche didn't just describe the void. He warned us about ignoring it, because the real danger isn't chaos. It's pretending everything's still fine. It's laughing in the marketplace while the world beneath us crumbles. We killed God, and now we're unmoored. We float through life without ever asking, what holds us up? Nietzsche wasn't just mourning. He was also inviting. Yes, God is dead. Yes, we've lost our compass, but now the sea is open. No more illusions, no more maps drawn by others, only raw existence, and the terrifying freedom to shape it. He wrote, "Our ships may venture out again. Perhaps there has never been such an open sea. This isn't hope in the way we're used to. It's not comforting. It's not easy. But it's real. Because now we are responsible, not just for what we believe, but for why we believe it. We must build our own values, face the abyss, and walk forward anyway." Nietzsche didn't leave us with answers. He left us with a question. What now? If there's no God, no eternal truth, no final judge, what will you live for? This is Intuitra, where we face the darkness, not to be consumed by it, but to light something new. Subscribe now, and don't just search for meaning. Dare to create it.